Welcome to the Crush It in Sales podcast. I'm your host, Melinda Van Fleet. This podcast focuses on the intersection of sales, leadership, and personal development. Now let's get ready to dig in and crush it. Hi, everyone. Welcome to this week's Crush It in Sales podcast. I wanted to talk about something that could be kind of a sticky widget, just to be really honest. And I haven't heard a lot of other people talking about this. And often, sometimes that's because it is a sticky widget. And that is dealing with bad clients, especially now. Within the last week, my husband and I have had several instances. Some are for his business, some are in relation to my business. And then after chatting with more people out there and just seeing what's going on, I've heard even more stories. So I wanted to share some of those stories, and I wanted to share the thought process around really protecting your energy, really protecting your thought, your own mindset, and your own behavior. And this will definitely lead more into a personal development podcast. And I also want to say that I recorded a meditation that can also just be listened to. It doesn't have to be done as a meditation with Deborah Lupien yesterday. That will be released Thursday morning, episode 82 on the Good Karma Success Coach podcast. And that meditation also really helps with what's going on out there in terms of other people's behavior. And it sheds some clarity around it from the universe. And I just really would recommend that podcast if you feel called to listen to that. It's on a different level than just being straight up business, which is what that podcast is all about anyways. And it could just really help someone out there. So like I said, it's been kind of a crazy week. And there's just things that you can control and not control. And that's things I've spoken about before. I've definitely spoken about that before. And there's also a process that I use just about every day, and sometimes several times a day. And I spoke about it on episode 2 of this podcast. And that's the buckets, the bucket tool. I believe so strongly in compartmentalizing other people's behaviors, relationships, scenarios, and then really trying to dissect it and figure out what actions you should take from that point of compartmentalizing the situation. And that's what I've had to do. I've had to do that a lot this past week. And I'm just, like I said, I'm going to share some examples. The first example that I want to share is something that happened with a company, and the company made a decision to do something, and long term, this could really hurt the sales reps. It's pretty amazing. This has been an ongoing thing with lots of companies. It's nothing new, but this company is actually being very aggressive about it, and I have had several customers complain to me, say they're uncomfortable with the emails they're getting, and I surfaced it. And the response came back as I had expected, and I had to just, after that, walk away. Because at the end of the day, it's not my company, and I can't control it. And who knows if the prediction that most people, and especially my customers, because they can see through it as well, think will really happen someday. I don't really know. And who knows where I'll be? Who knows where that company will be? So I had to compartmentalize that as something I just can't control, and to let it go and not spend any more energy on it. Just do the best I can, have an open, honest conversation with a customer about it, especially when they're telling me they're uncomfortable. Just walk them through it and help them the best that I can and let it go. In the past, I'm going to be really honest, I would have probably been like a little chihuahua. Going back. But these past couple years, I just really feel that I have done a lot of personal growth and personal development in regards to recognizing situations where, you might be hit up on the back end with a lot of passive aggressive behavior. Don't be fooled. Passive aggressive behavior is so alive in the workplace and growing. So you have to be aware of that too. You have to be aware that sometimes when you speak up for something to someone, that person could go behind your back and make a phone call. And then all of a sudden you're in trouble. And believe me, it's real. And I'm sure many of you are shaking your heads because it is real. So get ahead of it. Think about that ahead of the situation, ahead of you going back and forth and really making a play for something or stating a case. If you can't control it and it's not your company, let it go, because it probably won't serve you at the end of the day. It might actually end up backfiring. And again, I'm sure we've all had those situations. Another situation that happened is one of my clients had to actually hire police to help in her business. Wow. People have been so rude, so disrespectful, so unkind that they actually didn't feel safe in their place of work. That's something to think about. Isn't that amazing? I'm glad that she has that option and now has a sense of peace. And that is something to think about. How can you create an option to help you? And she thought of that option and it has been helping. But she can't control those other people's behaviors. They tried and it didn't work. And instead they had to hire some officers to help. That's pretty amazing. And definitely kudos to the police force that is helping with that. That is, something we all should be grateful for, the help. Another situation that I've had within the last week is emails from customers that are quite rude, to be really honest. And I've had to really protect my energy from them because it's nothing that's my fault. It's actually something that someone else, made a mistake on. And honestly, it's not a big deal. So you kind of have to go, okay, you send me this email that's pretty heated. It's not my fault, so I'm not sure why I'm receiving this. And honestly, it's not a big deal. If this is going to put you out of business, you might want to check that. And do you really think that that is going to make me act faster or apologize for something I didn't do? So that's been a big one. And it was kind of surprising because this particular customer does not normally behave like that. And it's come from two different people. So then it makes me kind of wonder, is everything okay? Are you guys doing okay? Are you guys under additional stress? Are there issues? Are you having issues with customers in your store? What's going on? So instead of me taking it personally and spending a lot of energy getting angry, I really moved on from it. I said what I needed to say, kept it very short, and I moved on. I moved on from an energy aspect and not really worrying about it anymore. And I just sent them some love and said, maybe it's a struggle, maybe business is really off. I know their business probably relies on a lot of other countries visiting them, and that's not happening right now. So maybe there's a lot to do with that. And you just send them some good thoughts and you move on. We were also speaking with the owner of our marina where my husband's boat, the Good Karma, is located. And he was sharing with us about a woman who had made a hotel reservation and she had to cancel. And they do have a no refund policy, but the hotel was being kind and saying, yes, we'll give you a refund. It's fine. You just have to wait a few days because of, something with the system. Instead of the customer saying thank you, she proceeded to stalk them via phone. The first day, she called them 34 times. The second day, she called them 56 times. And the third day, 78 times. Wow. Think about that. How much energy that customer is putting in to call the hotel to get her money back sooner when they're working on it. That's an amazing amount of energy, negative energy. when she could have been doing something else. And now she's an example in my podcast. I feel like Taylor Swift. So, think about that. There's a song from Ice Cube, check yourself before you wreck yourself. It's so true. Check your behavior before you get into all of that. Like, this is just not necessary. You don't need to go down that path. You truly do not need to go down that path. And the other example I want to give happened with my husband's business. My husband has amazing reviews. He has 60 TripAdvisor reviews that are a 5-star. Perfect reviews. On Google and Yelp, perfect reviews. Not that many people don't really go on those sites as much. And he unfortunately had to cancel a charter. It's out of his control. He had mechanical issues. When we cancel a charter, you know what? It sucks because he loves to go fishing and it's how we make money, right? Duh. And then also marketing efforts end up getting wasted. So whenever we have marketing efforts, we get a charter, we can't take it, that's marketing efforts that are wasted, time, money, resources, etc. So we don't like to lose a charter. No one likes to lose a charter, but sometimes mechanical issues happen, or the weather, and the weather is the boss in the charter boat business. So this customer went ballistic, truly went ballistic. And my husband's been in business for 8.5 years, and we have never, ever experienced anything like this. It was insane. It truly was insane. Luckily, we think like lawyers, and we were like, what is this person doing? We have all the facts to combat this. So I personally kind of laughed at the situation because I was like, are you kidding me? Why is this person spending this much energy? We live in the Keys. There are so many charters down here. And the person is actually from Miami and has a house in the Keys. So you then start to think, is there like something behind the scenes that we're not quite, privy to? Maybe this person wants to start a charter business. Maybe there's something like that. Those things do happen. People try to copy. Maybe there's something else, or maybe not. But in general, it was over the top. And I'm being nice in my description here. It was quite over the top. And, it ended up that we could defend ourselves on Google in regards to stating the facts. This person also, something to think about if you get attacked cyberly, you can definitely call the police, which we did, and we filed a report. And then you can Google that person. And you know what? You might be surprised to find, like we did, that the person really doesn't have a Facebook profile, or I should say this in general, doesn't have a Facebook profile. They're not on social media. So it's not like you can see they have tons of friends and they're really happy people or anything like that. And then you can see their track record of the reviews they leave. And often when someone's a keyboard warrior, they're leaving lots of bad reviews for other people. And this is exactly what happened with this person. And they also have a notice out there from the court system. So, when you see all that and you start to go, oh my gosh, you really start to look at the facts and then you really make a decision. I'm not going to spend energy on this. I don't even really like repeating this story because I don't want any energy around it, but I actually personally don't feel any energy around it. And I want to share it with others so you guys can learn and know if this is happening to you, you are not alone. And the great thing too is there are platforms that do take down reviews and look at the facts and go, oh yeah, this person is just a keyboard warrior. We should definitely not be posting this because this could hurt someone's business, and that's truly unfair. So just keep all those things in mind. Like I said, if these things have happened to you, and that's why I'm sharing these specific stories, know you're not alone. Because what I find fascinating in life is a lot of people don't talk about the hard stuff. They don't want to talk about the hard stuff. They might be embarrassed. They might think it's just them. Everyone paints this beautiful picture on social media, and, it's just not always like that. Let's just be real. It's just not always like that. And being a sales rep or being a leader, you have to deal with the public. You have to deal with their behaviors, what they have going on for the day, what their expectations are, how they like to communicate. There's so many things in those buckets that, at the end of the day, you might be exhausted. You might be like, is it just me or is everyone crazy? So it's definitely not just you. It's definitely going on out there. It always has been, and now it's just more. Now it's just more. It's nothing really new. It's just more. It's more because there's more people. It's more because there's more businesses. It's more because there's social media. And you're just more aware of it. Whereas in the past, like you might not have had a cell phone attached to your hip, depending on how old you are. And so you really didn't know. You might have gone home from work on the weekend and nothing affected you. You had a lovely weekend with your friends and family or by yourself and you didn't think about much, right? But now it's in your face all the time. And just know you're not alone. Behaviors from other people are definitely being a little out there, and you need to know that you're just not alone. So I want to talk really quick about the buckets, and definitely listen to episode 2, because sometimes I speak a little differently and change things around. You might pick up a different nugget that I share on that podcast. But I always start with bucket number 1 is being, not the extreme case. This is the case of maybe they're having a bad day. Maybe there's just some things going on you don't know. And you can send them love and light. You can see yourself as them. And you can just handle the situation and move on gracefully. Number 2, in this situation, I'm going to refer to with the examples I gave, is disengage. Don't respond or wait to respond. So you can wait to respond 24 hours. I tell my husband a lot, I'm like, just don't respond to that person right away. Let that sit for a little bit. You don't need to get back to everyone immediately, especially if they're not booking a charter. Like you can wait. You can let it sit for a bit and think about it and get back to them. And that's the same thought process, and keep your response tight. You don't need to go on and on and on. Just, get back to them on what they need and move forward. And I think that is really great advice for anyone, except for maybe if you're a doctor and you're saving lives. So, in my line of work, I'm not saving any life. Like if something comes in damage, if there's a claim, it'll get fixed. We'll figure it out. It's definitely going to be taken care of. It's not like you're not important. It's just, we're not saving lives. So we need to take a deep breath and realize that. And then number 3, obviously, is the most severe. So this is where you have to go, am I not going to work with this person? Do I have to just really disengage? What are more extreme measures on really protecting myself and my energy and not being involved? And I have definitely walked away from customers over my years of being a sales rep. I've mentioned this before. I write about it. I have no regrets. I really have no regrets. Because I always come to find out that other sales reps struggle with that person as well, and their behavior does not change. So whatever that situation is for you, it's okay. It's okay to stop the communication. It's okay to walk away. Just like, it's okay to quit a toxic job. It's the same thing. It's okay to not talk to a family member that's toxic. Always remember, take care of yourself. You're not alone. And it's okay to be going through these things. So that's all I have for today. I hope you like this podcast. It's a little more real with some great examples. Well, I guess they weren't really great because they weren't really good things that happened, but I hope you understand what I'm saying in regards to that. And just remember to, keep what you can control within your control. And if you can't keep control of it, and especially if it's not your company, just make sure you're checking how much energy you're spending on something. Check yourself before you wreck yourself. Thank you, Ice Cube. I appreciate you listening. Please make sure to check out my other podcast, The Good Karma Success Coach. I always am sharing very interesting, fun things in that podcast, and I love when I hear from people. I have a Facebook group called Good Vibes, and you can follow me on Instagram, Melinda_Van Fleet, Facebook, or LinkedIn. So until next time, I hope you crush it in sales. Thanks again.